think the most crucial thing is that we stand together, that we say the majority are anti-racists, that all forms of racism are unacceptable, but particularly tonight it's important that we stand up against the vile Islamophobia that's put out all the time by the mainstream media. It's that context of racism, I think, that's been crucial in leading up to this violent and horrific incident at the station here at Forest Hill on Monday night, when a man was stabbed by someone screaming, "I want to kill a Muslim." I think it's absolutely horrific, and we need to stand together across all religious lines, all ethnicities. We need to come together and say that racism's not welcome in our society.
Who is to blame for all these bad feelings? Only Brexit, or maybe also the austerity, which was even before Brexit, and it will be probably even if Britain had chosen Europe?
Yeah, no, I don't think this is solely due to Brexit. I think Brexit's given confidence to racists, but they were racists before. I think it's absolutely tied to austerity. I think that's correct. If we go back to the start of the cuts that were being made by the Tory government, there was the moment when David Cameron came out and said he thought multiculturalism was a mistake, and it had caused all sorts of problems. This has been a deliberate programme of scapegoating minorities by the government in order to create excuses for their cuts, and this has been backed and not challenged at all really by the mainstream press in the UK. I think it's an absolute disgrace that on the same day, I believe, that this attack took place, the Sun put out something saying this is what a terrorist looks like, cut out and keep. Every face in that was a Muslim face. What's happened here on Monday, I believe, is a terrorist incident carried out by a white man. What's happened when Joe Cox was murdered, it was a murder carried out, a political murder carried out by a fascist, a neo-Nazi, and this is absolutely something that has to be stopped in our society. We need a mass movement that can drive them back, the same sort of mass movement that drove back and broke the BNP and the EDL. We need that to challenge the racism that is trying to embed itself in society, to make it easier and easier for the rich to push through their cuts. I think it's something that we have to stand together and take on.
Paula Peters, Disabled People Against the Cuts. What's the role of austerity in all this rise of hate?
Well, what we've seen with the rise of hate is actually the government propaganda and rhetoric that's spread in the right-wing media. So national newspapers like The Sun, The Express, The Daily Mail, the rise of UKIP, with Nigel Farage getting a lot of media attention, and the government actually causing division with the rhetoric they're using. So turning citizen against migrant, worker against claimant, causing divisions between communities. And what we've seen with the recent atrocious hate crime attack here at Forest Hill is absolutely appalling. And we are seeing a dreadful rise of hate crime since Brexit. It's got even worse since the Brexit vote. And as disabled people, we know only too well what it's been like to be subjected to hate crime ourselves because of the government rhetoric and propaganda that's used in the media in our communities. So we are very much standing shoulder to shoulder with migrants, with the BME community, to say we stand up to hatred, we say no to hate, we say we're making a stand, and we're showing solidarity today, because at the end of the day we're all human beings of the one world. We should be about tolerance, respect, dignity and inclusion, and if we see any hate crime happening anywhere, we should challenge it, and if anyone's been subjected to hate crime, they should report it immediately to the police, definitely.
Are you afraid that what happened here will not be an isolated case and it could repeat?
This kind of, the incident that happened here on Monday is not an isolated case. This is hate crime towards the Muslim community has risen since Brexit over 85%, which is absolutely horrendous. And only today at Sydenham on a bus, a 15-year-old student was also subjected to a hate crime attack related to the Forest Hill incident. And we are seeing more and more of the migrant community, disabled community, the LGBT community subjected to hate crime because, like I say, of the government rhetoric that they're using, and society believe in that. And like I say, we're all human beings and we should be coming together, standing together in solidarity. And I think it's massively important that today that we make a stand, we say no to hatred, and we have got to come together to stamp out Islamophobia, stamp out racism, stamp out disableism, stamp out hate crime against any member of the community and say it's not acceptable, and if anyone is subjected to hate crime they should report it to the police and know that support is there and that we will do everything we can to raise these incidents and to make sure that things like this do not get repeated on a regular basis.
Amina Unite, the Union Community Branch. What's the situation now in this part of London?
We are very concerned by the rise of racist and Islamophobic attacks in this country. It's been getting worse over the last few years with Trump in America and with the Conservative government in this country and Brexit. Things have got worse for our people. They are dividing us and and we don't want that. We want to have a united community that is solid and caring and peaceful, and we will not let the racists divide us. We are very concerned that people are coming in our communities and having this hate crime, stabbings, spitting, killing. A Polish worker was killed as well. Since post-Brexit, we want to unite and we want all our communities together to fight racism and hate crimes.
It was a hate crime and he wasn't a terrorist. He wasn't a terrorist, even though a similar attack happened over a year ago with a Muslim man, and immediately his name and who he was identified, and he was claimed to be a terrorist straight away, even though he had mental health problems. The fact that he chose, the thing that terrified me the most is the fact that he said, I don't want to kill a Muslim woman. Imagine he chose that day he did. We are the most visible Muslims out there. He could have clearly killed us easily and no one would have done anything. And the fact that the media and the police choose to not classify him as a terrorist when he puts terror in the hearts of Muslims all over this country who have lived, who have been born on this street, and why should they be terrified and why should they be treated as second-class citizens when they fear for their lives? It should be taken into consideration, and they should really truly acknowledge that they are human beings and they feel afraid, and they should not feel this way, and this way they feel it this way and it's been accepted because of the way the government are treating Muslims and the way they betrayed us and making us the other to justify their actions. They created a sense of othering to justify the austerities and cuts they're doing is against Muslims, and it just created this notion and hatred all across our country, and we should not accept it. And it's incredible to see how many people have turned out today to stand in solidarity with us, and I'm very thankful, but really truly we should stand in unity.
Neima, you are a student. Are you surprised about what happened here in Forest Hill, or maybe we could expect something like this because of the climate we are living in the country?
I think I wasn't surprised because of the climate we live in and the sense of othering of Muslims and people being turned against us and thinking that we are the ones committing terror when really truly we're not.
What's the role of media in all this situation?
The media portrays Muslims in a certain way and portrays others in a different manner, even though they commit the same crime. So the murder of Jay Cox wasn't classified as a terrorist, even though he committed terror upon people. The man that did the attack here on Monday wasn't classified as a terrorist, even though he terrorized people. So there's a different definition depending on who you are and if you're Muslim or not.
Were you attacked sometimes
Not attacked. There's slight rape.
On the bus or somewhere else?
No, I think there's slight things that happen here and there that's undercover, but I'm quite certain there's many Muslim women who have faced attacks, and I have not reported it.
Michaela, you are a teacher in Lewisham. Is this atmosphere of hate affecting also schools?
Well, certainly it isn't in my school. I work in a nursery school. We have a very diverse community and everyone feels very welcome. To us it's really important that we value every single family and every single child, and certainly that the ugly side of racism has not come into our school at all, except the experience that people may have in their everyday lives, you know, walking down the street, that kind of stuff. People certainly do experience racism, but within the school community it's very united. And
in the street, how is racism?
Well, I suppose I'm not the right person to ask, but I do know that some of our Muslim families feel quite fearful at times, particularly women who wear the hijab and stuff like that. At times they feel frightened.